Dangerous, sir.
Yeah, so are his movies. Bring him in. If it isn't the American action hero Kurt Russell, The Thing, Tango and Cash, Backdraft, Stargate, Death Proof, Poseidon, Breakdown, some fine films. It's just too bad we won't be discussing any of them tonight.
Who are you?
The Reviewer.
Why are we talking?
I have a deal for you. A full pardon for all your crimes against cinema. And all you have to do in return is watch and critique 3 of your movies in the next 24 hours.
24 hours, huh?
That's right. I'm making you an offer.
Bullshit.
You're not going to get another opportunity like this.
I'll think about it.
You're not getting it, Kurt. This is your last chance. And this is Movie Night. Hello and welcome to Movie Night, proudly defeating YouTube's Content ID system for over 4 years. I'm your host, Jonathan Paula. Action Movie Month continues into week 4 tonight as we review a trio of Kurt Russell films, beginning with one of his earlier hits, Escape from New York. This science fiction action film from imaginative director John Carpenter was released in July of 1981 and grossed over 4 times its small $6 million budget. In the distant future of 1997, the entire island of Manhattan is a giant supermax prison, and a convicted bank robber and ex-Special Forces operative is sent in to rescue the President of the United States. Playing the famous war veteran everyone thought was dead is Kurt Russell, who does a great job portraying the gruff and heartless wounded anti-hero. The iconic eye-patch-wearing protagonist eventually became the inspiration for the Solid Snake character in the hugely popular Metal Gear Solid franchise, and is easily the most entertaining part of this 99-minute feature. Especially when he answers the Commissioner's question of, "What are you doing?" with a sarcastic, "Playing with myself." One fun but entirely unrealistic sequence has Russell fighting to the death in an underground battle against a giant brute twice his size. Lee Van Cleef, Ernest Borgnine, Adrienne Barbeau, Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes, and Harry Dean Stanton make up the large supporting cast, some of whom do a better job than the others blending in with their dangerous surroundings. The consequences and stakes are clearly spelled out early, with frequent cutaways to a ticking digital clock reminding us how much time Russell has left. Despite this urgency, the movie moves along at a snail's pace with a very quiet and almost incomplete sounding audio mix, paired with Carpenter's heavily synthesized, self-composed score, which is often grating and even irritating.
You see, I know something you and the Duke don't know. Only got so long before Mr. President doesn't mean a whole lot.
You're lying.
Maybe he's not.
I know him. Look at his face. He's lying.
Right, Harold, I'm lying. I might as well have some fun and keep looking by myself.
Rain!
Talk to him, baby.
Rain, you'll kill us both of you!
You gotta tell him. All right.
You always were smart, Harold.
Just one thing right now. Don't call me Harold.
The movie does boast some inventive special effects though, like a rendering of New York from above, accomplished by painting a scale model of the city entirely black with neon trim, giving the illusion of a 3D computer animation. The production design is quite tremendous, vividly portraying a hellish and futuristic landscape, including Los Angeles' Sepulveda Dam sitting in for the prison's massive control center. A dark and shadowy universe filmed with a wide anamorphic frame, Carpenter's slower, static approach to cinematography is a welcome one, and a far cry from the shaky mess most action films today look like. That said, this is the sort of unique premise, hampered by the limitations and style of its era, that could likely benefit from a 21st century remake. Fortunately, the equally ridiculous 1997 sequel is a strong improvement in several of the categories this R-rated film comes up short. Mindless cinema with no real purpose, this is still a mildly amusing picture worth checking out at least once. Escape from New York. Patently absurd. Weird, but watchable. Now that you've heard my review, let's check out what you had to say in the YouTube comments. Our scores for Escape from New York, an 8 and a 5. You applauded the fresh style, action, and of course, Russell's performance, giving this a great. From a technical standpoint, this film seems a bit half-baked, and despite its unique characters and premise, I just wasn't really all that entertained. I think it's alright, which I feel needs reiterating is a positive score under my system. For tonight's poll question, what is your favorite Kurt Russell movie? Leave your response as a comment below. Our second review tonight is for Big Trouble in Little China. Released on 4th of July weekend in 1986, this martial arts action fantasy film was a commercial disappointment, earning back only half of its $20 million budget. Directed by the inconsistently successful but nonetheless influential John Carpenter, this is a unique and ambitious bit of filmmaking. Originally envisioned as a western, the story follows an American trucker who gets dragged into a centuries-old mystical and magical battle in the underworld of San Francisco's Chinatown, in search of a kidnapped girl, and of course, his semi-truck. In the lead role, Russell is perfectly charming, but given the circumstances of his surroundings, his incredulity is often too subtle for the over-the-top script, even remarking, "I'm a reasonable guy, but I've just experienced some very unreasonable things." As a result, there's no one to really relate to in this picture, no one for the audience to truly sympathize with or even understand. The 99-minute story starts off normal enough, but when 3 Asian dudes wearing lampshades fly down on lightning bolts and start murdering people, things take a turn for the completely bizarre. Indeed, this now cult classic plays out almost like a live-action cartoon and remains difficult to take seriously. The R-rated narrative also moves faster than its own exposition, which is delivered in nearly every other line of dialogue, leaving the audience left to figure out what's going on after it happened. One 60-second sequence has our heroes escaping a mysterious flooding elevator, only to find themselves in a room of dead bodies where one of the lampshade guys is beating up Russell with his magic, all before the impossibly old, wheelchair-bound villain lectures him on the truth. To say this movie is strange and unpredictable would be an understatement.
Don't make me kill you, tough guy.
Come on, Jack! Come on! How?
A young and beautiful Kim Cattrall is feisty and fun to watch, but there's nothing behind her performance. She just rattles off ridiculous plot points without any emotional connection to them. The rest of the lesser-known but still talented cast includes Asian character actors like Dennis Dun, James Hong, and Victor Wong. As with all his films, Carpenter provides the score himself, a sort of ominous drone that pulses throughout the quickly paced picture. The wide anamorphic shots are filmed with vibrant colors, dark shadows, and plenty of cool VFX work, all aided by wonderfully ostentatious costumes and art design. Although this is a well-made adventure with lots of neat ideas and concepts, it just isn't for me. The stranger things got, the less I understood, or cared about the story. I can certainly understand its tongue-in-cheek appeal with others though, but seeing it twice was enough for me. Big Trouble in Little China. So completely weird, it's unappealing. Now here are your thoughts from the YouTube comments. Well, I was definitely outvoted on this one, a 9 and a 4 for Big Trouble in Little China. You praise this film's inventiveness and cite it as an 80s classic, scoring it an awesome. While the movie delivers on its name, there's really no other way to say it. I just didn't get this movie. I'm scoring it a meh. A reminder now to check out the Movie Night Archive channel for my trailer commentaries and an organized library of all 370 movies we've reviewed. Finally tonight, let's discuss Executive Decision. This Stewart-Bard action film doubled its $60 million budget following its March 1996 release. The longtime film editor who has cut everything from Superman, James Bond, Star Trek, Lethal Weapon, and Zorro does a wonderful job with his directorial debut, keeping everything tense and exciting without ever becoming confusing. The R-rated story follows Kurt Russell as an intelligence analyst who tags along with some Army commandos during a mid-air boarding operation to thwart an airplane hijacking in progress. Inherently, it's yet another movie involving an airplane in distress. I swear we've seen a variation on this disaster theme 100 times already, but the implementation here is unique enough to keep you entertained. In fact, the doomed airliner here bears the oceanic insignia, which we'd see crashing 8 years later in the TV series Lost. Russell is confident and charismatic in the lead, able to quip jokes and flirt with the gorgeous flight attendant Halle Berry while keeping his cool under duress. The expansive and well-utilized supporting cast includes Steven Seagal, John Leguizamo, David Suchet, Oliver Platt, Joe Morton, and a few other familiar faces. In a daring move, one of them is even killed off earlier in the film, in a surprising but effective first-act twist. Another hair-raising sequence sees an incapacitated Morton attempting to talk Platt through defusing a bomb using only household products and a mirror, reminding his friend, "If you screw up, you'll never know it." Although it perpetually flirts with the unbelievable, the 133-minute film remains realistic enough to allow suspension of disbelief. The high-stakes plot bounces between parallel narratives with well-framed shots and visual effects, especially considering the claustrophobic environment.
It is very important that you follow me, sir. You must follow me. Captain, please acknowledge.
This is Alta. Why are we being threatened? I told you my terms are absolute. The hostages will be released once we have landed in Washington. No compromises.
This is Secretary of Defense Charles White. You must listen to me. We know
You know nothing! Tell your president that he will comply or suffer the blood of many Americans on this plane.
Jerry Goldsmith's original and patriotic music is an excellent backdrop for a film that unfortunately wallows a bit in the second act, but comes roaring back with a thrilling climax. Watching Russell think out loud to himself as he attempts to fly the jumbo jet almost by trial and error is a particularly awesome scene. A well-executed script of familiar ideas that's greater than the sum of its parts, this is a very rewatchable adventure with plenty of memorable moments. Executive Decision is an old-fashioned aviation nail-biter. Here are some of your thoughts now from the YouTube comments. A 7 and an 8 for Executive Decision. While you admitted its issues, you also were thoroughly entertained by this movie and scored it a cool. What can I say? As repetitive as they are, I'm a sucker for airplane-based thrillers. I thought this picture was great. Finally tonight, let's see what you're saying about films currently playing in theaters with some of your tweet critiques. If you see a new movie in theaters, tweet your review with the JPMN hashtag. Action Movie Month continues next week with the granddaddy of them all, Arnold Schwarzenegger, as we review 5 of his movies from the past 4 decades: Commando, Predator, Kindergarten Cop, The Sixth Day, and his brand newest, Sabotage. Once you've seen these films, share your opinions by voting in the polls below or by leaving a comment review. If you'd like to watch more movie night reviews, check out the related videos on the right or click subscribe to be notified of all new content. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Google Plus for updates and recommendations between episodes, or if you just want to see what I'm up to at Playlist Live this weekend. Once again, my name is Jonathan Paula. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, have a good movie night.